We are going to listen to Manasseh Azuri. What was his opinion about all these matters? And I like the fact that PM Express, Evans Mensah's program, invited him to talk because he must have something to say. This is what he said.
I mean, Manasseh, did Oliver cross the line?
Once he definitely crossed the line. And I must say that this is somebody I really like. I like people who are bold. I like people who are outspoken. I like people who stand for something. And when he did a speech on Newsfile a few weeks ago, I was one of those who took to social media to praise him. But what he has done is very reprehensible. And I think it is extremely unfortunate. And what he has done beyond the legalities and everything else is really hurting the movement he's leading. Because from now onwards, I would be very careful in pushing for or supporting Fix the Country movement openly, which I've always done, because I don't know the intention of those people leading, some people like him. And so I think it is very unfortunate. I've heard people say that, well, it doesn't have what it takes to carry out whatever threat. But if you look at every coup maker, they often want to look at the atmosphere. Every one of them wants legitimacy. Are the people in this country ready for a coup? And that is the psychology with which they proceed to act. If they know overwhelmingly that Ghanaians will not support a coup, it will be very difficult for them to do it. But if they know, well, Fix the Country movement, young people, they are all clamoring for a coup. Oh, if Manasseh has gone to post in support of a coup, they will sit somewhere and say, well, if we strike, we are going to get people to support us. So it goes beyond what that individual has said or what he can do. But it also has to do with the kind of atmosphere, the kind of mentality that you prepare the minds of coup makers. He may have nothing to do with them, but somebody somewhere is sitting there waiting for the most opportune time to act. And so I think what he has said is extremely unfortunate, condemnable, and I admire his work so much. But this is not something I'll ever support.
I mean, so having made that point, okay, I'll come to you shortly about Manasseh's point about his conduct and what he has said affecting a movement that you belong. He says he will now struggle to support the movement openly, right? Think about it. I'll come to you for that comment. But let me go to...
What did Oliver Vormewor say that Manasseh says that is not correct? When he was writing about militia in the castle, he didn't know that that is also encouraging coup makers. You should learn his lesson. Don't write things like that. Don't write things you don't know. Don't write things that you can't verify, that there's a militia at the castle. That is the reason why we are all where we are and he is where he is. Because he went ahead to write militia in the castle, not motivated by a journalistic story to reveal and to ventilate, but motivated by a personal dislike for some people. He wrote that story. The Media Commission put him out. Joy FM put him out. That's why we're here. Good that the lesson has been learned. Very good. That's why we are where we are. Good that the lesson has been learned. What did Oliver write that Manasseh is unhappy with? This is what Oliver wrote. I don't know why he's added Osagyefo to his name, but anyway. Osagyefo Oliver Baka Vormewor. If this e-levy passes after this cake, this, read it yourself, viewers. I mean, I can't say it. If this e-levy passes after this cake, this, I will do the coup myself. Useless army. I shouldn't be laughing at this. If this e-levy passes after this cake, this, I, Vormewor, I will do the coup myself. Useless army. Okay, so for those of us who are pleading for him tonight, and that's really our position, we are pleading for him tonight, not because we think he hasn't done wrong. We think he's done something very wrong. We think he can apologize. We think the court can do with an apology because he's not the military. But like the point that Manasseh was making, it's not about him. It's about other people getting a signal from that, getting a signal from things like this, getting a signal even from what Adom-Otchere published, which we'll talk about, getting a signal from Manasseh doing a documentary and say there's a militia at the castle, which is baseless, a lie out of his own imagination, a figment of his own disposition those kinds of things, we don't want them in journalism. Let's just stay with the facts. Yesterday I was telling somebody that as a journalist, I've never recorded anybody before. I mean, I don't know whether, what is his name? Brima will call me a journalist because he has a very unique way of defining it and he hesitates to define it. So I don't know whether he'll call me that. But as a journalist, since 1997, I've never recorded anyone unknown to them. I've never done that before. I don't do those things. And I hope that journalists don't see that as the way to deliver the news. We look at the document, we analyze it. All the things that we've done on this touch screen since we're in the old studios in Laboni, we've never come to broadcast to you a recording of somebody. We don't do that. You don't have to do that. If you want to do intellectual journalism, you don't need to record anybody. And that's how we were trained. In the old days, we used to sit at Joy FM and if the government is going to read the budgets, we just look at last year's budget, look at last 2 years' budget, we distribute the work. You are looking at economy, somebody is looking at finance, somebody is looking at that. And you know what happens? When we are listening to the budgets in the studio, we start celebrating. Do you know why we start celebrating? We start celebrating that we've heard the minister say something that was in the 2 years ago budget. He has repeated it in the same words, and we are going to go out with that as a story. That the government has repeated in the 2 years hence budget of 2 years ago, the Bole Bamboy Road, Mr. Speaker, is nearing completion. Yeah. It was in 4 budgets. Same line. The Bole Bamboy Road is nearing completion. Yeah. And it hadn't started though. But every year, the Bole Bamboy Road is nearing completion. That's how we do our work. You just analyze it. You don't have to record anybody without them knowing. But you can't do that. Well, I know that those who do that say that it is risky as a subterfuge, but it's not the way to go. As journalism is an intellectual exercise. Once in a while, you need a panorama like BBC does. Once in a while, you need it. But if that becomes your form of journalism, that every day you are recording somebody, it's wrong. Very, very wrong. Patently wrong. Manifestly wrong. Immorally wrong. Okay, that's why those things will not stand up in a court. You can't sue anybody in court that I recorded him secretly. You can't. You only galvanize public opinion, and sometimes the public opinion takes effect. But that's not how to do it. We believe in journalism of fixing the superstructure, the 1992 Constitution. That's the only place that I agree with Oliver Vormewor, that we need a constitutional change, not a wholesale repudiation of this Constitution, but we need some amendments to it. We here have already put out some articles that we believe should be amended. Those articles that give excessive authority to the president. So that's fine. We are going back to Manasseh. You know why? Because his lawyer, Martin Kpebu, found occasion to render advice to Mr. Azuri on the show. I'm going to show that to you. I thoroughly enjoyed this show yesterday. I was just watching the show. I said, wow. And then people were texting me, are you watching? I said, I'm watching. You know, I like to watch the PM Express. I was shifting between PM Express and Point of View on CT. That's what I do on Monday evenings. You know, I'm watching this, I'm watching that, then I'm making notes and all that. I tell my people, watch. The guy said that maybe tomorrow we can do something about it. That's what we do on Monday. So Monday is a very beautiful time for us. Yesterday, I found myself watching more of this one because it was, I mean, you see, the Bible says that the weapons that are formed against you, they will not prosper. You remember that? It didn't say the weapons will not form. It said the weapons will surely form, but they will not be effective. So that's how I felt when I said, is that Suleiman Brima talking about journalism? Is that Manasseh talking about people writing reckless things? Oh, I see. That's quite interesting. I mean, this is a beautiful February, and it's not too far from Valentine. I was just excited about all the things. It was actually the day after Valentine, wasn't it? Here is Martin Kpebu, now advising Manasseh publicly on television. He was advising him publicly. You can't dare, stop that, don't say that. Because he's going to get himself into trouble again. That's what they do. They always say things that get them into trouble. And when the trouble comes in, they're hiding behind, and the government is looking for us. And what kind of? I like Martin Kpebu just for yesterday, what he did. He was telling Manasseh that stop. You can't say this. You get into trouble. Here's Martin Kpebu.
I mean, Mr. Kpebu, so I think there's unanimity that I mean, at least around this table, including even Ketuchi, who himself is a convener of the group, that what Oliver said was just crossing the line there. And so the law has kicked in. He was arrested. He has been detained. He's been charged. He's now going to spend 2 weeks behind bars, and he's facing treason. That is how the law should deal with people who cross the line. What's your response to that?
Evans, not at all. You see, my co-panelists, I can forgive them because they are lay people, okay? But I would advise strongly that next time, don't let them go in. Manasseh is my good friend, but on this occasion, he has also definitely crossed the line. When a man is facing the law court, you don't go in and do this. No. Manasseh, please. Okay, give him his day in court. Evans, you see, at a point I wanted to step in, but but definitely next time, don't let it happen. Don't prejudice his case. When a man is before the law court, let's not get in there. He is innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. Let's give him his day in court. You are lay, but at least let me tell you the law, because you are definitely making pronouncement how you feel and think. No, it's up to the security apparatus to increase surveillance and do the other things they do to monitor. You do surveillance and the other things, and they know what to do. If you see a dog and start calling it a wolf, tomorrow nobody will take you serious. Okay, so please, let's not go into the facts of the case anymore and how we feel and the rest. Yes, you see, we are playing to the gallery just because we are sensitive about coup. We think, by saying, hey, I condemn coup. By doing that, you are prejudicing his case. The case is before the law courts. Let the judges look at it and decide. That is our law. That is rule of law. Give him his day in court.
I always tell people that legal training is invaluable. It's very, very important. And all the journalists I've worked with at City FM, when we went to work with them at City FM, when we recruited them from Legon, I made this point. At the end of the day, about the 20 people that we recruited, 6 of them became lawyers because they understood the point I was making. You see Martin Kpebu, even though he has a big affection for Manasseh, he's warning him. These are the things that the Manassehs of this world do. They get into trouble all the time. Because journalism is intellectual. You cannot just talk. You live in a society. You have a microphone. You have a platform. You cannot just be talking. And Martin Kpebu was telling, hey, be careful. Stop there. Don't go there. They'll catch you for contempt. And they will catch you for contempt. But they don't understand because they are full of themselves. They have delusions of self-grandeur. They think they are bigger than anything. They think the journalism thing, it gives them some power to do anything they want. And every appointee, minister, deputy minister, whatever you are, DC, everybody is below them because they are journalists. So you're a minister, it calls you have to talk. That's what they think. It's wrong. It's erroneous. It's called delusions of self-grandeur. That is the sickness that Manasseh has. I think that he's recovering because today he's complaining about Vormewor. But his lawyer, Martin Kpebu, is telling him right there on the Joy FM program, my dear friend, stop it. They will catch you for contempt because he's talking about a court and he's talking freely about what the courts do. Hasn't he studied the Constitution, the history of the court? Professor Kofi Komado has written a book. Please, Martin Kpebu, buy one for him. Buy one book for Manasseh. Let him read it. Suleiman Brahma, you need a copy at the West Africa Foundation. I think Professor Kwame Kaikai already has a copy. He'll give you one. Read it. Read. Don't record. Don't hide camera. Take a book and read it. Read. You will see that you shouldn't say the things you were saying so that Martin Kpebu will now come and say, please, stop. Don't do that again. You will go to jail. Somebody's in jail for 14 years. Going to jail is not because the government likes you or the government doesn't like you. It may play a 5% role, but the fundamental thing is that when the case is called in the trial, there are ingredients of the offense. Those ingredients must be met and must be satisfied before they can put you on trial and in prison. But the kinds of things you were doing on the program, Martin Kpebu had to caution you about it.